Today, we're announcing that our government is launching the new Canada's Groceries and Essentials benefit. This will deliver hundreds of dollars more into the bank accounts of more than 12 million Canadians. Starting this year, we're taking the existing GST credit amount and raising it by 25% for 5 years. And in addition, we're providing a one-time payment equivalent to 50% of the GST credit this year.
So what do those percentages mean for families? Carney says under the existing credit, a family of 4 receives about $1,100. But with today's announcement, that same family will now receive nearly $1,900 this year and about $1,400 for each of the next 4 years. Well, joining me now is Lydia Miljan, political analyst at the University of Windsor. Lydia, thanks for being here. Let's get into with this today. I think the Prime Minister making it abundantly clear where his government is going to fall as this winter session of Parliament is underway today with an affordability announcement. Do we expect more of this, do you think, in the next few weeks, and more of these measures, or where do we take this on day one?
Well, I think really their strategy, the Liberal strategy right now, is to focus on the things that matter, which are the bread and butter issues, things that they actually neglected, over the last few years under the previous government. So they think they got the message that people are struggling with high inflation, that they haven't really been able to put anything in the policy window to actually lower prices in a substantial way. I mean, even though the rate of inflation is going down, we still are living with the legacy of that high inflationary period. So I think these kinds of measures are there to signal that they are listening to Canadians and that they are concerned about these issues, and maybe to distract from our bigger concern, which is what the Liberals wanted us to, why we voted for them, was to deal with Donald Trump. That's not going so well. So I think focusing on cost of living is a better bet for them.
Yeah, and it does feel, though, doesn't it, that the relationship with the United States and what's going to happen with CUSMA and the renegotiation that is officially going to reopen later this year, it kind of feels like it's going to hang over everything for this session of Parliament, does it not?
It does. I mean, there's only so much government can do in terms of redistribution. At the end of the day, what we need are jobs. We need to have trading partners, whether it's the Americans or some other entity. We need to sell our goods to market. We need to be able to ensure that people have jobs. I don't think Canadians want necessarily redistribution. They want to have jobs and to be able to feel that they have a future for themselves and their children. So the federal government is going to be under enormous pressure, considering that, even though, Mark Carney had his speech in Davos and was well received by the political elites, it wasn't so well received by Donald Trump, and the deal with China has really just given Donald Trump another reason to attack Canada and to make the negotiations that much more difficult. So those are going to be some pretty major challenges for this government, and given that the clock is ticking, that we either have to renegotiate the USMCA agreement or find some other trading partner is going to put a lot of pressure on Mark Carney and the Liberals.
I want to ask, too, your thoughts on Pierre Poilievre, who is going to face his leadership review this coming weekend, knowing that it's been coming, at least at this point. Is still the Conservative Party still neck and neck with the Liberals in polls, but Pierre Poilievre still trails Mark Carney when it comes to preferred prime minister, at least in the most recent polling, too. I don't think we're not expecting any surprises of the weekend, but what's that going to mean, too, as we get into this new session of Parliament?
Well, I think if he gets, good numbers with that, I think it will help, give him more credibility with the party, but also other Canadians to say that, they still believe in him. They still think he's the person for the job. It is quite stunning, though, when you look at these polls, that the Liberals and the Conservatives are neck and neck, that really the only difference between the two seems to be in the leadership and how people perceive those leaders. For Poilievre, he might be better off just waiting it out, just waiting to see what happens with the USMCA agreement. If that doesn't work out, he's going to look that much better. Mark Carney so far has given us a lot of promises, and people are still giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's still in his honeymoon phase. And so I'm actually interested to see whether or not Mark Carney is going to try to manufacture some sort of crisis for an election campaign this spring so that people don't get tired of him too soon, because that's really going to be the measure is, can he keep his popularity till the end of the year?
Saying in the House of Commons today, or at least in Ottawa, that they were not planning a snap election, but we will see. Lydia Miljan, political analyst at the University of Windsor. Thanks for this, Lydia. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Matt.